everyone, I am Legacy, and today we're going to be playing a game called Sunlightscream. It is a game that I have gotten the free key to review, so I'm really excited to jump into this because if any of you were around when I was on Twitch, I did a playthrough of Doki Doki Literature Club, and I have a feeling that it's going to be similar to that, but probably it sounds like it might be worse than that one was. So I will add into this video some trigger warnings and in the description some trigger warnings. So please make sure to check those out before watching this. I would hate for this video to trigger anything bad for anyone. All characters are fictional and have reached legal age. Coincidences, whether they're people, events, pictures, or coincidental, the story is the author's fantasy and purely entertaining. Okay, so I guess let's jump in. I'm not 100% sure what to expect by this. The pounding of the train wheels slowed rhythmically, and the green landscape outside the window gradually changed to an urban jungle. Awakening from the lulling trance of the ride, I moved to the opposite seat and glanced eagerly out the window. Fortunately, I had no traveling companions, and I spent the entire trip in a half-slumber, immersed in thinking about the future, which was rapidly flowing into the present. I impatiently thumbed through the newspapers lying on the table. Parents beat up daughter for becoming a doctor instead of an actor. The city's mayor passed away from a heart attack. Re-election will be held next week. The annual fall festival is postponed due to the abnormal heat. A government lab in downtown Sunlight City was abruptly shut down following sensational discoveries. A serial maniac named the Judge has been spotted on the streets of the city again. All right, Sunlight City. The news I deserve. So much for a quiet, peaceful town. That's exactly how my brother described it, based on our rare online correspondence. A boring, backwater town where nothing happens. In fact, I'm even glad to be back in my hometown, if it weren't for the conditions of my move. We lived here as a whole family growing up, with my mom, dad, and brother Chris. But then my parents had a falling out over something, and my mom and I had to move to LA 8 years ago. No matter how hard it was to part with my brother and father, I managed to get used to the big city and joined the school community. I finished my studies and was about to go to university. But now another disaster has happened. My mom was in a car accident and passed away. I simply don't have the money to rent a place, so Chris came to the rescue. He and my father were doing well in business here, and my brother kindly invited me back to Sunlight City. He's even willing to give me a separate apartment, and I'm going back to my roots, even if not the most pleasant conditions. I applied and was accepted to the university, which Chris kindly paid for. It must be nice to have your family pay for college. I feel like it is becoming more rare these days for family to be able to do that. But I didn't have much choice in the matter. Chris and I had always gotten along since we were kids, and even from a distance we kept in touch. Outside the window, the platform with the railroad station was already floating, and the final station, Sunlight City, popped up on the scoreboard. And here I am. Well, hello, old friend. Despite the fact that there were quite a few passengers in the car, a small queue formed at the exit. I rose lazily from my seat, stretching my stiff legs. Picking up my backpack, which was crammed full of my new Picking up my backpack, which was crammed full of my few personal belongings, I slung it back behind my back and stalked down towards the exit. When I got to the station, I was immediately blinded by the sun. It's a sunny city for a reason. I hid in the shade of the awning and looked around the station. There were passengers and greeters darting back and forth, though there wasn't much of a crowd. I strode to the back of the platform looking for my brother. We had made a quick appointment to meet him somewhere at the exit, and I wrote him the number of the carriage. But I didn't see anyone like Chris at the station. I don't think we're going to miss each other. Maybe he forgot? Or is he late? I stared hard at the faces of the people, trying to catch a familiar feature. Yeah, sure, I hadn't seen Chris in 8 years, but he had had plenty of pictures on social media. I should recognize my brother. Psst. Hey you. Yes you. I know you're waiting for this amazing story to continue, so I'm only going to take a minute of your time. Maybe even less. See that battery icon in the corner? It will only appear during the choices. A nearly dead battery is an unimportant choice. It will have almost no effect on the plot, except for some scenes. Oh. I didn't mean to do that. A half-charged battery is an average choice. It will determine an important decision now or in the future, perhaps even deciding the fate of one of the heroes. A fully charged battery is an extremely important choice. It will inevitably, or after a while, lead to the death of one hero or the rescue of another. And lastly, a little life hack. In order to remove the entire interface, perhaps to create screenshots, just click on the mouse wheel. That's so cool! That's it. This is my goodbye. We'll probably never see each other again. I love fourth wall breaks, so that's really cool. Was that even a fourth wall break, or was that just like a tutorial thing? Or like a little fairy on my shoulder? Stand and wait for Chris. Go look for Chris at the train station. Well, if we're supposed to meet him, we should probably stand and wait. I decided to wait in place a little longer. I didn't want to get lost if I went looking for him and he for me. A little hidden from the noise of the crowd, I pulled out my cell phone and started dialing. But I didn't have time. I was pulled back by a familiar voice. Chris. Oh, hey, Max. Oh my god, it's really you. A guy in a stylish black jacket emerged from the crowd and waved at me. Chris Hardy looked exactly as I expected. Despite our difference of only a few years, my brother looked a lot taller and older. His hair was slicked back in an uneven comb, but beneath the mask of a serious young man was the most good-natured man I had ever known. The mere sight of him made me smile involuntarily. I waved back and hurried toward him. Chris, it's so good to finally see you. He held out his hand to say hello. Instead of shaking my hand, I felt a rush of emotion and unexpected rescue. I stepped forward and hugged my brother. Even though we haven't seen each other for a long time, we actively communicated by correspondence. And even though fate has separated us, he is still dear to me. That's very sweet. That's very sweet. Chris, seemingly not expecting such a greeting, patted me on the back confusedly. I didn't see you on the platform, so I went for a walk to see if you were somewhere else. Brother, it's been a long time. Sorry I didn't expect traffic at this time. When I arrived, I guessed that you wouldn't stand still and would go looking for adventure. Yeah, I think I found it. I smiled in relief. Although this town is small and crime is not so bad here, caution can't hurt. He regarded me curiously, smiling full mouth. You've grown a lot, I'll give you that. Chris glanced behind me, trying to see my luggage. Don't tell me that's all you brought with you. He grinned, pointing to my backpack over my shoulders. It's like you're not moving to another city. You're here for a picnic. Not that there wasn't a lot of stuff in there, but my backpack wasn't very big. So I had to tamp down some of it, and some of it wasn't necessary at all. Well, anyway, yeah, got all the essentials. I don't have a lot of stuff, you know. I shrugged. Well, the sooner you get settled in. We walked to his parked car in the lot. I threw my backpack in the back seat, and we hit the road. The town looked cozy enough, but it was much more built up than I remembered it as a child. It stood on coastal land and was actually surrounded by forests and small mountains. Many one-story buildings on the outskirts were replaced by familiar high-rises closer to the center. There were very few people on the streets. At this time, people were either studying or working. The breeze blew through the windows from the fast driving. Thank you so much. I didn't expect your message at all. I mean, I didn't expect you to invite me back and everything. I don't even know how to thank you. Chris smiled, but then frowned. No problem, bro. It's all good. I got some bad news too, though. You too? What's the matter? My father, he had an accident. Anyway, he's gone too. I thought they had the same dad. What? What? God, Chris, I'm so sorry. What exactly happened? Why didn't you say something to me before? I wanted to tell you, but you had this happen recently with your mom. I didn't want to add to your poor state of mind, so I decided to hold off. I didn't know how you'd react. Maybe you'd change your mind about moving at all. I didn't want that. I don't know all the details, but all I've been told is when he was coming home late, he was attacked by robbers and stabbed. That's awful. You said it was a quiet, peaceful town. Did the police say that? Did they manage to catch this criminal? Yes, I was informed the next day. The killer was never found. He left no trace. My father and I haven't had much contact since my mother and I left when I was a child. My mom had forbidden it partly because of some old grudges. And then I'd forgotten all about it, but it must have been a big blow to Chris. I hope they solve this case. Are you okay? Yeah, we haven't been hanging out too much lately. I was more worried about your reaction, to be honest. I didn't know how to say it. I mean, we haven't really talked much since then. I think it might have been one of his business rivals. He was selling real estate, and things were going well. We had no problems with money, but that's just my speculation. The police wouldn't even listen to me. Thanks to him, we have an extra apartment where we're going now. Well, hang in there. I'm happy with any option. We drove up to one of the high-rise buildings. My brother handed me the keys and told me the apartment number. Aren't you coming? We could sit and have tea. I can't right now. I have to go on business. You get settled in. You have to go to university tomorrow, so you better get ready for your studies. It's never easy to join a new team. But Max, we will definitely celebrate your arrival. I have a lot of work now. Maybe the day after tomorrow? And tomorrow I can drive you to the university entrance in the morning, so you'll remember the way. Sounds great. Thank you for everything. I have your number if you need it. So I'm noticing little grammatical errors. I believe that this game is actually... I'd have to look into it on the game page, but I believe this is actually originally in a different language. So there's some little like I's and U's that are mixed up and a couple other little just minor details. So if you notice that, or if I say it, it's alright. It's perfectly fine. They can only do so much. Of course, if you need anything, call me. I got out of the car and said goodbye to my brother. Taking the elevator, I walked into my new apartment. I have to say, I was expecting a lot less. It was already comfortably furnished, had 2 spacious rooms, and was even bigger than the one my mother and I had rented in Los Angeles. I quickly unpacked my stuff, unloaded the most important thing, my laptop. I checked the website of Sunlight City University, which is where I was transferring to. It looks old-fashioned, but I don't have much to choose from. For the rest of the day, I decided to walk around the city, and at the same time, store for necessities at the store. Shop for necessities at the store? Huh. Despite the fact that fall was already in full swing, it was warm outside. I took a leisurely stroll, familiarizing myself with the city's surroundings and thinking about upcoming events and listening to the light music on my headphones. In the evening, I went to the supermarket and picked up a whole basket of groceries. I'm not very good at cooking, so I bought some ready-to-cook food so I won't have to suffer too much. But an unpleasant surprise awaited me at checkout. The payment from my card stubbornly refused to go through. Life didn't prepare me for this, and I forgot to bring cash with me. As I helplessly tried to tap and swipe the card from different angles. How long are you going to keep digging around? People are waiting. Pay up or get out. I was astonished by the insolence. The girl behind me glared angrily at me. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble paying here. No one cares. People are waiting here. You can't pay? The exit is that way. That is not good customer service. Even though there was no one else in the line behind me but her, it became very embarrassing. The saleswoman was sympathetically silent. Oh, that was not the salesperson. Okay. That makes a little more sense. The saleswoman was sympathetically silent and then allowed me to leave everything in the basket and come back later when I sorted out the card. I stormed out of the store. I hadn't been so ashamed in a long time. I got home after dark. I had to call Chris, who said it was probably some kind of mix-up with the different banks. He would give me a working card with the balance tomorrow morning. So, without much thought, I set my alarm clock and went to bed. For tomorrow, Chris picked me up, as promised, and drove me to the university. I also got a new card from him and some cash, just in case. We agreed to meet tomorrow after school and go out for pizza at a local restaurant to celebrate the reunion. He wished me good luck and left on business. The university's brick building could be seen from afar, the entrance lined with neat trees and bushes. I looked at the time. There were still 15 minutes to spare, but I had to find the right classroom. I went up to the principal's office, signed some papers, and got my locker keys. Then I went looking for it. There were a lot of people inside, guys bustling around, chatting, walking the hallways. Here's my locker. Almost approaching my locker, I suddenly felt the ground go out from under my feet, and I almost fell, crashing into it. A grinning, huge guy grew next to me. He was wearing a tight black t-shirt that apparently didn't fit him, and long red shorts. I didn't immediately realize what had happened. He cackled in a bass voice, and only then did I realize it was a footstep. Look where you're going. You're not on your feet at all. The guy muttered with a sneer in his eyes and leaned against my locker. Who the hell are you? I've never seen you before. Oh. Intrusive thoughts? Be nice. Intrusive thoughts? Be nice. I'm gonna be nice. I'm new, and this is my locker. Please go away. I don't want any trouble. Why make enemies on the first day? I decided to act with restraint, despite the obvious Why make enemies on the first day? I decided to act with restraint, despite the obvious provocation from a local member of the bullfrog family. Really, 'cause it looks a lot like mine. I must have gotten it mixed up. The jock grinned, pointed to a row of identical lockers. It's okay, it happens. So, can I go through? You sure it's yours? What's your name? Your name's not here. It's none of your business. Well, look, my name is Grant. It would be rude if you don't tell me your name. That's great, Grant. Your name's not on it either. So now I have to hurry to class. Nice. So go ahead. It's not like I'm holding you. Just watch your step next time. We will definitely meet again. He hummed, clearly pleased with himself, and walked past, nudging me with his shoulder. Well, it could have been worse. I finally got to my locker and threw my stuff in there. What do we have for class? We're supposed to have math class now. It's only a few minutes before it starts, so we'd better find the right cabinet. And then I realized that I had no idea where I could find it. The university website seemed to have it on it, but I forgot to look at it, of course. Oh, great. What am I gonna do? Ooh, okay. This is semi-important. Search the site via Wi-Fi. Look for a classroom on the schedule board. Ask somebody. So we're on a time crunch. If we ask somebody, we could potentially find a friend. If we look for the schedule board, look on the schedule board, it might take a little bit of time, and so with that. We're going to try to ask somebody. I'll just ask someone. That's the quickest way. There will probably be someone more adequate. And no sooner I had stepped away from the lockers, as if to answer my thoughts, a blonde guy called out to me. He was about my height, with fairly long disheveled hair, and kind light blue eyes. That was awesome, dude. Are you talking to me? Do you see anyone else here who can beat Grant that badly? I don't. I think it was more the other way around. No, you are handsome, not afraid, so indifferently answered him. The very coolness. Not everyone can do that. You're not scared. You're the coolest. I'd help you, but I've got my own issues with him. Leon. Can I shake your hand? Oh, I've been talking too much. My name's Leon Edwards. You're the new guy, I take it, right? Yeah, I'm Max. Nice to meet you. You're the first person here besides my brother. You're the first sane person here besides my brother. I haven't had much luck so far. Your brother? What's your last name? Hardy? Why? I don't remember anyone with that name. What group is he in? Oh, you misunderstood. He graduated a long time ago. I meant all over town. I just moved here. Even like this? Well, you're welcome, Max Hardy. By the way, what class are you in? Math. I was just on my way to ask someone where the right classroom was, because I'm not very attentive. Leon Round. So you're the new guy. I didn't realize, but it all makes sense now. Our Mr. Johnson told me we were getting a new student. He's a great man, by the way. Too bad the studying is boring. Let's go together. It's not far. We went down the corridor. Leon talked a lot, but somehow he was easy to get along with. We just met a few minutes ago, but there's no tension. I usually have trouble getting along with people. Though, maybe it was just the need for some company. Don't pay much attention to Grant. He's like that with everyone, especially newcomers. He bullies everyone as if it'll give him a brain, but if you ignore him and stay out of his way, he's just an ordinary bully. So you're saying he's also in your group? No, Max, he's in our group. Wonderful. We quickly reached the right cabinet. It was quite crowded inside. Almost all the seats were already occupied. The classroom was small, and unusually there was 2-seat desks. Can I say words properly? The classroom was small, and unusually there were 2-seat desks. There was an empty seat next to Grant in the back rows, who was harassing the guy in front with the glasses. You know, why don't you come sit with me? I'll save you from prying eyes. We sat down at a desk somewhere in the center of the classroom. Grant was too busy, apparently taking homework away, to notice my appearance. The teacher appeared just as the bell rang. The noise in the room instantly died down. It was a fairly young man, by the looks of it, only about 10 years older than the students. He coughed and looked around the room, stopping on me. Mr. Johnson. Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to introduce you to our newest student, Max Hardy. He joins our group and will be studying with us this year. Afterward, he addressed me directly. You missed a little bit of class, but I think you'll catch up quickly. I nodded silently in response and slumped into my desk, feeling scrutinizing gazes of my new classmates. And now let's move on to the lesson. I want to warn you that tomorrow we will have a test, so I suggest you listen carefully and prepare yourself. The class itself began. There were some rules of adding vectors, different tasks, proofs. Math has always been easy enough for me, but here at university, I feel like I didn't understand anything. I honestly tried to get into the essence of the teacher's words, and to give him credit, he explained lucidly and interestingly, but my thoughts just couldn't focus on my studies. Only now was I able to stop and consider my situation and future plans without rushing anywhere. The unexpected death of my mother, and, as it turned out, my father as well, reuniting with my brother, who was kind enough to take me in and put me in a separate apartment. Meeting Grant, meeting Leon, plenty of action. What's next? I guess I should concentrate on my studies and finish the year normally, and then we can think about the future. Leon brought me out of my thoughts. He didn't seem to be listening too much either, and was more interested in me. Psst, Max, what's on your mind? Why don't you tell us why you moved in the middle of the year? Never seen anything like that. Are you sure we should be discussing this now? I mean, he said there's some kind of test tomorrow. Come on, you can find the answers from your phone if you need to. I think I can find the answers ahead of time, and I'll text them to you. If that's true, that's good, but why are you sitting alone? I thought you were the popular guy. That's why I'm sitting alone. I get along with everybody, but nobody likes it when I talk too much, especially in class. It's distracting, you know? You know, the truth is, I don't really... Max, I hope you're discussing with Leon exactly the topic of our class. Can you, in that case, name the two vectors in relation to each other? Mr. Johnson pointed out two parallel arrows. Leon bit his tongue and shrugged when I glanced in his direction. I shot my eyes menacingly. And then the red-headed girl in the next desk covered herself with the palm of her hand and whispered to me. Collinear. Collinear? That's right. And to be even more specific, co-directional. Also quietly whispered the girl. Co-directional. Good for you. Looks like you know the material after all. I hope you have a good chance at the test tomorrow, but I'm still going to need you to sit and listen in silence. I was ready to burn with shame. The lesson continued, and Leon now sat silently, squirming guiltily in his chair. Thank you. I turned briefly to the girl in the next desk and whispered my thanks. She smiled back, winking her big green eyes. I sat in silence for the rest of the lesson, trying to grasp at least the rest of the material. Leon apparently felt guilty too, and didn't bother me. The class ended even too quickly, and now all the students were packing up and leaving the classroom. I decided to thank my red-headed roommate for bailing me out, and walked over to her desk while she was still there. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for the tip. The girl gave me a friendly smile. Come on, it's nothing, or you can consider yourself indebted if you want. Indebted? Sure, I'd be happy to help in any way I can. Haha, relax, I'm kidding. If there's an opportunity to help a good guy, why not do it? What makes you think I'm... Thanks, anyway. Oh, I forgot. I'm Max. Yeah, I know. The girl giggled mischievously again. You know, I mean, we just... Oh, the teacher said, right? Did he say my name? I see Leon's got some people talking. Yeah, he can do that. Anyway, nice to meet you, Max. I'm the Slayer. The Slayer? Are you kidding me again? Is that a name? It's actually my nickname. Are you a role player or something? No, I haven't tried that yet, admittedly. Just a nickname in games, social media. And should I call you by your nickname too? I won't say no, but if you're still curious about my name, you can call me Sarah. Oh, Sarah the Slayer. Ha, you're a fast learner. Good for you. Well, I'm off. See you later. Well, that's definitely the second nice person here. Despite her teasing, you can feel the same easy energy from her as you can from Leon. Just as I was about to leave the room, I was stopped by a teacher. Max, come here for a second. I just now noticed that there was a set of chess on his desk. He must have loved the game a lot, or there must be some sort of tutorial on learning the principles of math associated with them. Probably some aspects of math, I would think, other than just, like, counting a couple of squares. Yeah, why did you want to see me? I won't take up much of your time. Just to introduce myself and say I'm aware of your situation. My name is Nicholas Johnson, and I know about the unfavorable conditions of your transfer. And if you need any extra classes, help with studies, reach out and I'll help you. Oh, well, thank you. I'll keep that in mind. I hope you'll fit in quickly. You can go." I was the last to leave the classroom. I wondered how he knew the details of my transfer. The rest of the studies flew by. I was brought back to reality by a rumbling stomach, demanding immediate refueling. Did I not just read that? Thankfully, I had to change with me now. What are the words coming out of my mouth? Thankfully, I had change with me now, and Leon and I headed straight to the university cafeteria. Almost all the tables were occupied, apparently. Studying awakens appetite, not only for us. I got myself some fries and steak and went to look for empty seats. After a minute of wandering, I spotted a distant table with the pink-haired girl sitting at it, with tea and an open notebook. I stopped hesitantly. The girl clearly didn't want company, and I wasn't going to be happy to have someone sit next to me like this. But on the other hand, there were no vacant seats anywhere, and Leon would be here soon. The prospect of waiting another half hour did not please me, so I went to the table. The girl didn't notice me, staring at her notebook. I had to cough 3 times, turning up the volume each time to get her to pay attention to me. "Hey, is this seat taken? All the other seats are taken." "Do you want to sit with me?" "Well, yes. Sit down, please." The girl lowered her gaze back to her notebook in embarrassment. "Thank you." I sat down silently and began to eat. After a while, the girl looked up at me with an effort. The end of lunch went quite smoothly. We all chatted about studying and upcoming tests. As I understand it, Sarah loves computer games, movies of all kinds, TV series, as you can tell from her self-proclaimed name. Samantha is much more shy in company than she was when she and I had one-on-one conversations. But from what I understand, she's all absorbed in her studies, likes her privacy and comfort, and the opposite of her is Leon. He mostly doesn't care about his studies, but he's the first to talk about everything, or throw some kind of party. What's weird is that all of my new friends didn't really socialize with each other before they met me, but today we managed to have a very nice sit-together. Until I saw my impatient acquaintance from yesterday again. The same guy with glasses from our group that Grant was making fun of was carrying a tray of orange juice. Until someone in the crowd shoved him. The glass flew straight to a nearby table, pouring all over the purple-girled hare's lunch. There was a silent scene for a couple of seconds. The girl jumped up, dodging a wet spot spreading across the table. The guy froze in a stupor while the girl shook with anger, pointing her finger at him. You little goggle-eyed butthead. I'm sorry, I unintentionally... Shut your mouth. You spilled it all over our table. I'll wipe it all off now. The guy scrambled from side to side looking for a rag. Lick it. The guy stared back incomprehensibly at the shouting person on the canteen and shrank back. What are you looking at? Come on, lick it before it's all gone. All the neighboring tables turned towards the incident and watched in silence as the events unfolded. No one came to the rescue, and the poor man had no choice but to follow the evil tyrant's demands and bend over the table. But she was not satisfied with that, and the girl took him by the neck and bent him close to the table. Hey, what the heck? Is this normal? Shh, you don't want to go up against Erica. What's that from? Who the hell is she? Our unofficial queen of the course. A lady in our course, but in a parallel group. At least we're lucky she's not in ours. If you so much as look at her, she'll turn your remaining year into 7 circles of hell. And what Nate did, it's just suicide. It's a thing. Even Grant's under her thumb. If he's just a mindless bully, she's just a devil in the skirt. Too bad he didn't douse her all over, though. Nate, meanwhile, obediently licked up any leftover juice on the table before getting a kick in the butt and hurrying away. Moron. The girl walked carelessly to the other end of the table and took a seat from her neighbor, and sat down to eat as if nothing had happened. You know, I've met her before. My friends stared at me like I was a leper. What? When? Yeah, I went to the store yesterday when I got here, but I had some problems with my card and I didn't even have any cash, so I had to leave everything I had bought at the register. That cutie was right behind me, but I see now that I got off easy. Trust me, man, you better avoid that devil in a skirt. You'll be safer. It's a lot of fun, I'll give you that. Finally, lunch came to an end and we said goodbye to our newfound friends. I made my way home at a leisurely pace, admiring the surroundings and breathing in the fresh air. It had been a busy day, but I was in a good mood. At home, I finally paid for my mobile internet so that it would work without interruptions. I flipped through the study material for a while, but the letters quickly began to merge and swim in front of my eyes. I devoted the evening to relaxing in video games. It was getting dark, and I was about to go to bed when my phone rang. I flinched at the unfamiliar sound I'd last heard a long time ago. Who would be calling at this hour? Of my entire entourage, only Chris knew my contacts at the moment. Although it could have well been spotted by someone new, having found my social networking page. Surprisingly, the caller's number was hidden. Usually, I don't take unfamiliar numbers, considering it an advertisement, a scam, or some other kind of prank. 90% of my stuff that I get, my calls, is just bullcrap. Nothing. Scams. Yada yada. But this time, the hidden number caught my attention. So why not? Dun dun dun. Hello? Picked up the phone after a while, but there was no answer. As I listened, I could make out a barely audible breath on the other end. I can hear you. Who is it? I was about to hang up, but then I heard a hoarse, gruff voice distorted by interference. You shouldn't have come to this town. Soon you'll pay for everything. I don't quite understand. I can't hear you well. Who is it? Don't worry. We'll meet very soon. Is this some kind of joke? Grant? Erica? At first I thought someone had gotten the wrong number. Then I immediately thought back to today. Could very well be someone's prank. Punching into a locker and licking off the table is fine. And why wouldn't it be? I'm sick of your stupid jokes. If you have something to say it to me in person. I'm hanging up. You hang up now, and someone you care about dies. At this point, I'm stunned. If this is a prank, it's a cruel one, even for this couple. And if it's not... What the hell are you talking about? I'm gonna call the police if you keep talking like that. Good luck with that. You can stop being so nervous and stop pacing the room already. That's when I started to feel uncomfortable. I was really walking around the room without realizing it. I went to the window and drew the curtains, but he could have just guessed. Or is it another psycho from this town? Goosebumps ran down my spine. I made my way over and sat down on the bed. What do you want from me? You'll find out soon. The stranger hung up. Even if it was someone's stupid prank, which it probably was, it still felt unpleasant. Who would want to spy on me in my own home? Who even knows where I live? On the other hand, what did he say? Stop walking? He could have just hit randomly for effect, or it could have been some kind of metaphor. Thinking about the strange midnight call and its vague message, I didn't notice myself settle into bed and fall asleep. Okay, so we're actually going to end it right here for our first episode of Sunlightscream. Make sure to like this video if you like this kind of content and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one.